Yeah. Hi, I'm Arohi Naik. I'm working as a security engineer at SQR. And today I'm talking about Femtech and data privacy, what's at stake. So let's get started with what is Femtech. Femtech, or female technology, is basically referred to apps or services or softwares that deal with women's health and wellness. So these are period trackers, fertility trackers. Nowadays, they are also known as digital contraceptives. And you might have heard about these, like there are quite famous apps like Flow, Clue, Maya, or Eve. The screenshot that you can see on the screen, it's a direct screenshot from Google Play Store. Can you guys sense a bit of theme going on there? For me, it's a bit too pink, and I find it quite stereotypical. However, it is meant to make us feel more feminine, but that's a topic for another day. Can I have a quick show of hands? How many of you use these apps or have known about these apps? Well, cool. While this might amuse you, Femtech now is considered as a separate industry with a growth rate of 36.3%, which is huge, and it is expected to go up to 310 million by 2026, and maybe up to billions by 2031. But see, this is the start just for UK, and if you see globally, it's like pretty amazing. And there's a lot of investment going on into Femtech this year especially, but it is all towards how to make the apps more functional or how to integrate more AI into it, but hardly anything towards securing the infrastructure or maybe defending the users. Yeah, going ahead, why I started getting into this. So these apps have been in use since a long time, like since early 2000s, but they got significant attention after the Flow app's data privacy controversy that happened in 2021 in the US. So basically, in 2021, Flow app, which is pretty famous for period tracking, so it was found to share its users' private data to companies like Google and Facebook for, say, analytics, advertising, or marketing, and that too without the consent of the users. And I got pretty skeptical then that why should I use these apps because my data is not private, and I think a lot of people did as well. People were scared to download the apps later after that. But since then, there have been a bit more research towards Femtech. There have been other news items as well, like data breaches or these apps not following the practices, security practices well, or even not working the way they should. And what caught my eye was last year Amazon shut down its secret project to develop a fertility tracker. And they laid off hundreds of people then. And I think, it was pretty insulting that they treated it as an experimental business. For Amazon being such a big conglomerate, we expect them to do good towards like any kind of product, say. But if they would have done a good fertility tracker, it would have reached to millions of women around. And it might have also helped small companies to have a better reach, but they shut it out. And yeah, I found it very infuriating, to be honest. But see, that's the point. Like, if our reproductive health is going to be treated like a side hustle, why are we expected to function like a full-time job then? Let's get into some technicalities here. So what are their data collection practices? So when you log into an app, which all Femtech apps want us to log in first, create an account. So it, of course, takes your name, email ID, contact information, of course, device data, then user ID, device ID. They also collect your location data, which is a bit dodgy, but yeah. Then everyday mode is good. You log your everyday mode, which I like it. But also, you give permissions like cookies. 90% of the times we just accept all and go ahead. And Some of these apps have now started premium versions. So they have AI-powered health advice, which needs a premium. So there goes your payment information as well. But this is all still fine because it's PII or non-PII as well, and all the apps collect this information. But when it comes to Femtech, what we don't consider mostly is the intimate data. It's not just about the menstrual cycle data. It is ovulation test results, your BMI, your mental health, sexual health data, then your lifestyle, diet and nutrition, sleep patterns, breastfeeding and lactation routines, and also medical history, doctor visits, prescriptions. It makes you log all of it into the app. And it's pretty critical, but developers have a tendency to look at all data as just another piece of data and not uniquely sensitive, which I think needs to change. Let me give you an example of why this is so serious. So just imagine a woman logs in her breastfeeding routine into the app, and there's location, her GPS is on in the background. So now we know when and where she is in the day alone with her child. And this information, it's just information for the app developers. But for stalkers or abusers, if it is leaked or sold, they can leverage it to track, manipulate, or, take advantage of someone who is at their most vulnerable. So I think it's not just privacy risk now. It has become more physical safety risk. Do you think this much information is needed for the apps to just predict your cycle? Do we need to log that much? Do you think some of it is actually unnecessary, like location data? I don't see a point. And what is the guarantee that this data is collected and handled wisely? That's something to think about, isn't it? That brings me to privacy policies. Do we actually read them? Let's be honest, nobody does. They are long, complex, with legal jargon, and it's pretty boring sometimes as well. But if you take time to read them, like I did with the Femtech apps, you might see a lot of ambiguity in the language. They use terms like, we may share your data with trusted partners. We don't know who these trusted partners are. Then your data is used to improve our services. What data is used to improve what services? They also use terms like, we do not sell your data, but then 3 paragraphs down, they would say we use it for marketing and research purposes, which still means that the data is being monetized. Another issue I have with these apps is even if they say that they have, an option to delete your data, but what is the guarantee that the deletion is just not on the app, but from the servers as well? Also, when it comes to deleting the data, these settings are buried so deep in the app, it is so difficult to find them. Then there's no single or legal regulatory framework. So in the UK, Femtech operates under MDR, ASA, and UK GDPR. So MDR, which is the medical device regulation, they do safety testing for the apps, and they provide guidelines how to develop a secure app. But what the issue is that these apps mostly label themselves as wellness apps and not medical devices. As these apps do provide health advice and they do ask you to log your medical history, they should be labeled as medical devices and not just health and lifestyle tech. But then when they label themselves as that means they bypass all the safety testing and oversight. The ASA gives guidelines to influencers, marketing teams, how to market the app better. But then it only takes action when a complaint is made against it. And we are hardly aware of app labeling or transparent labeling, so nobody does complain. And it's the same with UK GDPR. Under GDPR, we have the right to ask questions about our data, to ask for deletion, but lack of awareness, and we just don't ask for it. From a security point of view, I believe in privacy first, practices, like there should be privacy and security ingrained from the very design start. I think with a technical point of view, decentralization is a way that we can go ahead with, which means processing data on device. So Apple's Health app does that. It processes all the data on device, and then it asks the users if they want to back it up. But no other apps do that, like absolutely none. And I think it's not impossible, right? These apps also have a functionality to share data with other devices or with your partner's device, but there's no encryption in place. We absolutely need end-to-end encryption like WhatsApp because of the intimate and private data sharing there. When it comes to policy regulation, we spoke about MDR supervision. I think there's an ISO for health companies, like digital health companies, but it is not very granular to Femtech, I would say. So we need something specifically for Femtech because of the growth of industry. And of course, there need to be clearer data protection guidelines, transparent app labeling, accountability for companies, and for the influencer claims. And of course, to reiterate GDPR, we need to exercise our rights. Going into the granular security bits, I think we need a better suited socio-technical threat model. In our traditional threat models, we do focus on assets like the devices or the API and things like that, but we don't consider the personal intimate health data here, user-generated content, user identities. When it comes to threat actors, it's not just hackers or cyber criminals. It is more of advertisers, data brokers, stalkers, abusive partners, or, backward community. Then there is governments. Let me give you an example. If some of the countries do have restrictive abortion laws, and if such data is gone out, it could be, just a missed period, could be weaponized legally against you. So they could just sue you in courts if this kind of data is surveilled by the government or just in terms of like sold outside or leaked somehow. Attack vectors, we are not just looking at dark patterns or unreliable SDKs, but surveillance, inferred disclosures, and legal loopholes. When it comes to impact and risk, this is the most important part is what I think, because it has gone to physical risk now. Then there's privacy violation, surveillance and profiling, data monetization. Discrimination is a good one. So, for example, in your organization, somebody's Femtech app data is leaked. And say she is trying to conceive, and then the manager finds out about it, and they possibly just pass her over for a promotion, because they might think that she's going to take a maternity leave ahead. And that's workplace bias. And along with that comes a lot of shame and stigma as well. What we don't really think about is the emotional and social stress around all of these things. The traditional threat models that we have, that all of the Femtech apps also use, there's nothing as specific to, socio-technical or even towards user experience designed. But there's weak or manipulative consent mechanisms. There's no granular consent. It's just you either accept it or just no functionality. That is basically with the location data mostly. It's just either you accept, share your GPS, or no functionality of the app at all. Then there's lack of data minimization, absence of collective privacy. So collective privacy or shared privacy means that the data you collect is not just about the enrolled user, but about others as well, like a sexual partner or their child. And we never consider this. Then, of course, there's algorithmic bias and lack of transparency there. When it comes to data breaches as well, we usually think about reputational damage or financial damage, but hardly about mental health or psychological harms, which means even just using a Femtech app, people do rely a lot on AI. We just heard in the last talk. And sometimes there's over-reliance over it. All these apps do now have AI integration and they do provide health advice. When I mentioned inferred disclosures, it is basically that if you give just a little bit of information, but what AI does it just assumes things and then gives you conclusions over it, and people can trust it and fall for it, which might lead to health anxiety, obsessive tracking. And there are certain countries where talking about menstruation or periods, it is still considered a taboo, and that if that information is leaked outside or even spoken about, it can lead to a lot of shame and stigma around it, or a social fallout to be extreme. And towards the end, it's just loss of trust in digital healthcare, right? And that's the last thing we want. That's why I just want to say our health data belongs to us, not to advertisers, governments, or corporations, or just anyone. And it's time to demand privacy in Femtech. Also, I would love to urge everyone to please be aware, ask questions, and take control of your data. That's my time. Thank you. Thanks so much for listening. Questions.
Has anyone got questions?
Yeah.
Have you ever submitted a subject access request to see exactly what to do with the data?
Sorry?
So in the UK we can submit something called a subject access request.
Yes.
Have you ever seen the results for one of those?
Oh, I have not. But yeah, we can. Also in the EU, there's this thing that you can directly contact the developers of the app to ask for data deletion or what kind of data we have. I think that is a great thing to incorporate.
Your question there. What we'll do is if you can repeat the question back for the recording.
Sorry.
No, that's absolutely right. Black shirt, yeah.
In terms of apps or monetized, it's all for profit. Do you think that's benefit to actually have price?
Can you please repeat? Sorry.
Because the for-profit software,
Yeah.
do you think that's opposed to actually having good pricing in applications?
So if data monetization is good for privacy,
More so, do you think the data being monetized doesn't have to actually achieve price?
well, if the data is being monetized for research, but then there should be a boundary to it, right? That what kind of data is used for actually monetization. Also, the thing is, they don't mention it very clearly that what kind of data they are using for research. And even now, just recently I saw this, that there's a lot of investment going on in these things. So UK government is also investing in Femtech. But nobody is speaking about how it is going to make the apps more secure. It's more capitalism. So I really don't think that data monetization is helping right now.
We have another question there, yeah. No.
I'm just curious, does anyone analyze these to see which ones are more secure?
Yeah, so Mozilla, sorry, I'll repeat the question. So if anyone has analyzed if the apps are creepy or not. So Mozilla has done a survey on all these privacy policies of all Femtech apps. So it's on their website. It's pretty funny. So they have ranged the apps from level of creepiness, from least to worst. You should absolutely check it out. It's very interesting. But it is again a very older research or review of these apps. But there's hardly been any surveys recently since 2023.
Yeah, question at the back.
Do you think there's an appetite for people to pay to use these apps rather than
If there's an appetite for people to pay for these apps, I think so, yes. Some people do rely a lot on the apps usually for fertility tracking. And when such apps just, the way they advertise themselves is very funny. But they do make sure that you fall for it and get the AI integration in. And some of these apps do have the general functionality as well as a paid version. So without the paid version, you just can log in period cycle dates, but nothing else. So, yeah, I guess people do pay for it.
Feels almost wrong, isn't it, to pay
It
a
is.
company to keep your data safer?
Absolutely,
You kind of
yeah.
think they should be really keeping your data secure as it starts off, and not if you pay us an
Yeah.
extra tenner a month, we'll make sure we definitely don't sell your data. Anyway, sorry, gentlemen in that.
Sorry, I was going to ask the same thing, sorry. So essentially, everybody says if product is free, it's because you're the product. So would you suggest that premium versions of Femtech apps are safer, or is that a false sense of security?
Well, if the premium versions are safer, I would say no. Because I don't think they're doing anything differently. They are just making money out of it.
On both ends?
So, yeah, there's this app called Women Log. They have the most transparent privacy policy I've read. But again, they are a free app. So I think you can keep it free for everyone and do good security.
I was just going to say that, free or premium versions of apps, they're all at risk of dark patterns.
Yeah.
And developers and designers, they know that. So I'd say just because you sign up for a premium version of something, it's probably exactly the same. You just paying to layer on whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's not. And if there is a version where you're paying more or you're paying subscription and you are getting a better, more private service, then actually that's a red flag.
Just money.
Just money. Yeah.
Any question? Yeah, we've got another question there.
Do you think part of the problem for the security is that society has become a little complacent in what's already out there with us using social media and information companies in particular, that we've given away so much information already that this is just another part of that we're giving away. Maybe that's where the security is lacking, because we've already got 90% of what's out there, but we may as well have the next.
Absolutely. We are complacent now in terms of all the social media going on. Even with ChatGPT, it's so easy. People don't Google nowadays, just go to ChatGPT. And yeah, AI is there to make things easier maybe, but then at what cost? Would you rely more on AI or more on your doctor?
Any other questions?
Quick two-parter. First of all, I've seen a lot of these talks, and this is the first one that really addressed the threat model we need. So that's a great angle to take on it. So thank you for doing that. But secondly, what are your suggestions for how do we fight this? I mean, what? A few of us are going to send in nasty grams to the companies, okay, and they'll here, you can have a month's payback or pay. What you paid for the app or something like that. What are we really going to do about it?
To fight back, I would say we need to talk to people who are at board level with these apps. And I think if they change some things, then it might be a bit of change towards it. But then now there are so many of these apps. And the problem is that they lack resources. They are small teams, they lack resources, and then they do compliance just as a checkbox. And that needs to change. I guess the way we think needs to change. And even I don't have a solution towards it, like how we are going to change it. But in terms of, like I said, incorrect labeling. So if if Google does something about it when they put the app on their app store, or we have a special regulation just to publish the app to public, then that might help as well. But then as individual responsibility, I guess please don't go for premium versions. Don't rely on AI. And yeah, GDPR. Exercise your rights. That's the least
Time
I
for
guess.
one more question. One more questions? Cool. Well, we do. Well, we have a winner.
Is perhaps the problem a lack of diversity in the development teams? As a guy, I'm not impacted by that, and it wouldn't occur to me to think of those problems. When you put them up on the list there, wow, you guys have given up a lot.
Well, speaking about diversity, there's so much. But yes, there is lack of diversity in development teams. When it comes to even cybersecurity, there's so much gap. And yeah, we need more women in leadership positions in terms of at least Femtech, I would say. But then yes, I have seen that even men are not very, open to hear these problems. I'm very glad that all you are here. But yeah, I mean, it's just not you. Your partners are involved. It's your family who is involved. Even you are involved in a way. And yeah, we need to take it seriously.
Thank you very much, Arohi.
Thank you so much.